where they can collaborate intensively with product managers and design teams. She's also a qualified art therapist. So when she's not thinking about product enablement for customers, she draws and paints. Mridula, I'm so delighted to welcome you. And let me tell you, I've been so excited for this presentation, which is how UX in docs enhances CX. So yeah, let's get started.
Thank you so much, Nishta. I'm very excited to present this topic. And this is the first time I'm talking on this topic because of late I have found some examples where, how we present the documentation really makes a difference to how it is perceived by the readers. So let's get started. And I just want to, mention this explicitly that all the views expressed in this documentation, in the presentation, does not mean it's a rule. It is just my recommendation. I'm just suggesting these. And of course, it is my personal. It has nothing to do with Grey Orange, where I work currently. So let's get started. So I'll try to be very to the point and swift so that we can make maximum utilization of the 15 to 20 minutes time that I'm going to spend on this presentation. So because, we all are tech writers, we are very, very used to the term UX, right? Because we do participate in UX writing, many of us participate in, and therefore we have a kind of a good knowledge of what UX is all about, right? So many times I have seen that people confuse between UX, that is user experience, and customer experience. So customer experience is the larger umbrella of which UX is part of it. So how does UX drives CX? When users get the delight of using the product, and in this case, the product is documentation. So I know Riparna made a lovely presentation on how we need to deal or handle docs as products, right? And that was so spot on. I really loved that presentation on hers, and that drives this point even more. So when we are considering documentation as a product, then the UX or the user delight that we are giving to the users, that will overall, drive the whole impression about the brand, about the company, and about the trust. And there is so much more. And that is what CX is all about. So as you see the concentric circles, so the CX is the larger picture and UX is a part of the CX. And what we experience during the UX writing is the UI part, what the micro copy that we look at, right? So this is how you have to zoom out and look at the entire picture. So why as the
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but are you sharing your screen?
oh, I'm so sorry. This happens when we don't share the whole window. Just give me a minute. I'll just share the whole. And please let me know if you can see it, okay? Are you being able to see it now?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Sorry. So, you can see these concentric circles. If you want, you can take a screenshot. I don't know if the small letters will come in the screenshot, but you can see all the smaller circles are the different components of each circle, right? And UI is where the UX writing is focused on. We deal with the microcopy. UX is where, we are giving more about content strategy and information architecture, all that. And content strategy and information architecture is something writers also deal with and UX designers also deal with because they need to plan it out for the entire website, right? So moving forward, to answer the question, is UX and CX, are these terms synonymous? Answer is no. So let's ask ourselves, okay, why bother about UX? We are writers. We need to bother about the nitty-gritties of the product. We need to bother about the user personas, their user journeys, and why we need to be bothered about the UX. Isn't tech talks all about products? Isn't UX, CX the design team's work? So this is where, as Shriparna rightly mentioned earlier, that we have to gradually expand our horizons. Like Razorpay is making such amazing videos, and Rajkiran's team is working on chatbot. So similarly, if you keep focusing only on the writing part of your job, then what will happen is that you are just increasing um, you know the possibilities of getting replaced, right? So the more you expand your horizons, the more opportunities will come in. So Deepa Shriram, in one of the group chats, she was saying that just grab all the opportunities that are coming your way and strive to learn about it and to excel at it. So to answer this question, why bother about CX? It is mainly because the way you design your document will drive how much the user is going to be interested in reading that. Right? So just imagine a piece of excellent information being written in a notepad versus that being very structured with the help of markdown, or very structured with the help of data, or just putting it into a very nice way into a proper page, right? Even if it is Google Doc, Word, wherever you put the presentation, the way you put the content, the way you present it really matters. The readability really matters. Okay, now I will slowly get into a little bit details about how to achieve this, because we cannot have some a very detailed session on each topic, but I'll try to just scratch the surface so that you get an idea, and you will also get to understand what you need to research about. Now, this is a very, very interesting um, topic, both in art as well as in UX. Okay. Now, what is white space? So, in this particular presentation itself, in this particular slide itself, if I show you this thought bubble, right, here we can see lot of letters and lot of words sitting together as a clutter. Now just think that the entire slide is full of text like that. Will you be interested to read it? No. As compared to what you see in the thought bubble, right below on the left side, I have put the information in bullets with adequate spaces between them and around them, so we can very clearly, I can even read without my specs, right? Because it is very clear, the font size is perfect and the type of font is also perfect. So the readability will get enhanced with how you are planning the white space. White spaces should not appear in your document just by accident. Okay, you have to plan the white space, and how you will plan is depending on how you are putting together your content. So where you need to place bullets, where you need to place tables, how much space you need to leave between two sections, all these things you have to plan. It should not be by accident. Now let us come to this topic that is very close to my heart, because not only because I'm an artist, and also because I have seen the impact of color during my art therapy sessions. How different colors can help you feel relaxed, how different colors can make you feel more focused. So I'm not going to go into the color theory, that might need an entire session, which has nothing to do with tech writing. But here I'll just teach you a little bit about the WCAG guidelines. Okay, just the color part of WCAG guidelines. Now, according to WCAG guidelines, the color and contrast should have a particular measure. So how will you measure it, right? Have you ever heard color getting measured? But there is a way to measure the color. Now, if you look at this pale green box, the measurement is the font where it is written 4.5 is to 1. That is how the contrast is getting measured. So the 4.5 is for the font, that is the foreground, and 1 is for the background, which is the pale green color. So how to interpret it in layman's word? It shows that the font has 4.5 times the luminosity of the background. Luminosity means how much it is visible to normal eyes, right? So lower the point, the lower will be the visibility. Let us quickly, switch to the right side of the screen where it is written 1.2 is to 1. What does that mean? We have a white background and we have the font color as very light gray. Here, the ratio is 1.2 is to 1. That means the luminosity of the font or the visibility of the font is only 1.2 times that of the background. But if I replace the white background with black, immediately the luminosity or the integer on the left will become high, right? So this is, and how you will measure it? You cannot memorize these measurement. You can just go to color.adobe.com. It's an excellent site where you can understand a lot of things about color. And if, see, it is not necessary as a tech writer when you have these information handy with you that they will be applicable in your documentation itself. What if you're working on GitHub? What if you are working on, CLI window? There is no color there, right? But you are looking at some product of your company where you feel, oh my God, the font is not visible at all, right? So if you just go and tell the UX designer, you know what, the font is not visible at all, and they argue with you that, oh, it's visible for us. I mean, what's your problem? I mean, that's why I put the color. It looks very aesthetic. So this word aesthetic is very, very contextual, and it differs from one person to another. My aesthetics need not match with your aesthetics. So how will you build an argument with that particular designer? You will go to color.adobe.com, put in the hex code, and you will get the ratio, and you can build a solid case that, you know what, as per WCAG guidelines, the ratio must be at least, if not more, 4.5 is to 1, and this is very low below that. And you will have a very strong point to prove there, right? Now, coming to the next section is something very, very common to us. Okay, we have many apps these days to increase the accessibility and also to enhance the ergonomics of the website or the documents. They have a light and a dark mode. So light mode at night, it puts especially the blue light. That's why many mobile phones also have a yellow or a soft light, right? So that you can switch on at night. It is because the light mode, which is okay during the daytime, at night time it puts very strong strain on your eyes. Okay, whereas the dark mode is easier on the eyes. Again, we come to a very interesting aspect of colors and UX, that it is very much relevant on the culture of a country. Okay, so I had been to this STC conference, and the director of Salesforce had a very, very interesting presentation on the influence of culture on the way people interpret your content. Similarly, there is an influence of culture on the way people, see the colors that you're using. For example, this is not related to culture, but there are certain countries where they don't get sunlight for days. In such countries, people are usually, they are prone to depression. It is not that they are all of them are depressed, then how the country will run, right? But they are prone to depression. For such countries, if they are exposed to the color black too much, I mean 8 hours, if they are exposed to the color black, then it can have a significant impact on their mind. Okay, but having said that, it is said that color, the black is the color of power, right? So when you are wearing a black dress for a meeting or a party, you make a significant impact there. So please don't relate black color to that. Okay, let us understand the concept, and the context. We are talking exclusively about documentation, that how the colors impact the mind of the reader. Now, the next topic is on the placement of images. So, as writers, we are used to following the style guide, and therefore we have very clear, instructions how to use images, how to place them, whether to put borders or not to put borders, whether to put shadow or not. Okay, I'm not suggesting don't follow your style guides, but it is interesting to understand the psychology of how to place images and how they play a role on how we interpret the information. Now, recently, one of my team member, when I was reviewing her document, I asked her to place the image below the text instead of above the text. So she was trying to ask me the reason, and I was happy to explain. When we are writing a text, right, that needs to be read, and um, unless a person reads the text, they will not be able to comprehend the image. There is no use of putting the image at the top, because it is a eye movement that will catch the image first and will not make any sense of the image, and they will go down to read about the image. Okay, why you may think that it's okay, they are looking at the image, they didn't understand, they are looking at the text below. But I feel that images should have a context in such scenarios. Again, as I said, these are suggestions based on my experience. You can always use your due diligence and place it. Now, when does the image look right at the top, right? So, in case of especially flowcharts, okay, an experienced user who has been using the product, has been using the system for a long time, that person has not been using a specific process for maybe a month or two, and has maybe forgotten, or he just wants to look up something. Do you think he will need to read the details of that process, or he would be happy to look at the flowchart and then, that is the point I missed? Yeah, in this flowchart I just need to go like this and I'm good, right? So we have to reduce the cognitive overload on people who are not newbies, right? Even if it is a newbie, they will look at the flow chart, understand how the information is moving across various blocks, and then they can get the details from the text below. Now, this is something interesting. If you have ever done any course on UX designing, you would already know this, how web pages are designed. And I'm going to use the same principle in case of technical documentation also. Now, there is a very strong reason why we normally have headings left aligned. So you will very rarely, I mean, I have not seen any document where the heading is like centralized. It is because of the F pattern. So again, when people look at technical documents or at newspapers, they will always try to read in the F pattern. They will start at the left, and this is not applicable to I think it is Hebrew and Arabic and Urdu, because they are written from right to left. Okay, this is exclusively for English or any language that is written from left to right. So the eye movement goes from the left corner towards the right, and therefore whatever you place on the left side will catch the user's attention the first. Okay, so that's the reason that we should, even when we are trying, so this is again, in my hardware documentation team, they were very used to using justified, um, what you call that, alignment. So justify alignment, although it might look, and it's a very old usage actually. I remember, back in the days when I was new to IT, I used to use justified alignment for sending emails and all those things. Now nobody use justified alignment, and it is mainly because the readability is very very weak in justified alignment versus left aligned. So it is always good to keep your text left aligned, and headers and images and tables on the left. Again, if you wish, you can put the images in the center. It is not a hard first rule for documentation. Now let us understand the Z movement of the eye. So you will always see the company logo is at the top left corner. There is a reason. That is the most. So here's the thing. I'm sorry, I'm intercepting my own flow, because suddenly, another thread comes to my mind, and I feel, oh, I need to talk about that. So what happens is that this is very interesting. There, if you search for heat map of a document, right, you will see that the red portion is at the top. So that's the reason most of the companies prefer to put their logo at the top left corner, because that is the hottest zone. That means whatever you put there, if it's a logo, if it's a word, if it's anything there, people will tend to read that first. Okay, and then they will move horizontally towards the right. They will read the entire top section and quickly scan through diagonally through the page, and they will quickly scan through. So if there are image, it can catch their attention. That's why I mentioned the image there. And then what catches their attention is the bottom part, where again the eye movement is from left to right. So when we are designing documents, we can keep these things in mind. Obviously, very few of us design pages, but at Gray Orange, we have the opportunity to design web page that will be like a landing page for the users before they get to read the documents, and therefore we try to use this principle in that. The text you hear. So what do you think comes to your mind when I see the text you hear? You will think, Mridula, how can we hear the text, right? We read the text, but screen readers will read the text. And what kind of text they want to read when they come to, or they can't read when they come to your document, it is the images. So if you have not put any alt text in your image, that screen reader is not going to understand there is an image there, and therefore the person with visual impairment will also not get to know that there is an image in there. Now, when I did not, study WCAG, I did not research on accessibility. What I used to do very conveniently, okay, this image is the screenshot of this particular tab. I'll just write the name of the tab in alt text. But when I researched, I became more aware on the accessibility guidelines. I researched on the WCAG guidelines. I understood that, Mridula, you have been a fool. I mean, it is totally useless if you are just putting some redundant alt text, because it is not going to help anyone, right? And so this is how you need to think about alt text, that what, why, and how. What is the image about? What action is shown in by the image? Where the user clicks. You can take a screenshot of this one if you need to. So the example of one alt text is screen displaying inbound orders with a generate report button to generate an order report. So now just if you close your eyes and you have just heard my voice reading that, you would know that okay, I can understand what the image is about. So that is what you need to do. So when you, I know most of us don't have time to do so much of research, but I will say this is the ideal way. Try to be closest to the ideal way. So how you can do it? You write the alt text, make some tool read that text to you, close your eyes, hear it, and see if that voice that is coming to you, is that voice being able to describe the image properly. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Just in case you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer. I wanted to just give a suggestion here. So my favorite tool is pen and paper, but of course I know Figma and Marvel also. So it is good if you can create a layout of your document before you actually jump into it. And I want to actually share an example with all of you as to how it made a difference. Okay, let me share my other screen. I have, I'll just share my other screen. I took a screenshot of, so I'll just give you a little bit of context. Don't want to make this too long. I gave the responsibility of designing the release notes homepage, the landing page, to one of my team members. And this was the first look, what you see here. I took a screenshot just for this session. So here, although she has kept it very neat, adequate white space, perfect font, but just look at the different heading. Yes, this heading is heading 1, but after that, I am seeing all the headings together at once. Now, this is called absence of visual hierarchy. Okay, so all of these headings are a heading 2. So I am not being able to focus on one heading. So when I'm reading through, I'm going from the left and horizontal F reading. So all of them are looking as if same, it is not giving me a break when I'm trying to look at this. As compared to after I gave her my feedback, see what she came up with. Sorry, not this, see what she came up with. Now you just compare, right? Which,
Sorry, Mridula.
yeah.
Uh, New image is not visible, I guess.
Yeah, we're seeing the same old screen.
Oh, I shared the whole window. This screenshot you're not being able to see?
We are still seeing first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
test release notes portal.
Yeah, yeah. Just a minute. Let me share. I shared the entire screen. Just please check if you are being to see a screenshot that says release notes portal.
Yeah.
Yes, now we're able to see it.
Yeah. You're getting to see two.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this
Yes.
is what you see in this screenshot. I just took a screenshot when she first gave me her first draft, where I gave her some couple of feedback on UX. So this was what she gave, and this is what she came up with after implementing the feedback. Now you just check, although everything apparently is fine here, but which has the better readability, right? This one has better readability because it is nicely segregated into sections. And also when we click on this download release notes, the way she has designed this also becomes very, very clear. So this is what I wanted to show you, that how the correct type of approach towards UX design makes a whole lot of difference to how a user can actually fall in love with your document. Of course, the content accuracy is the king. Content is the king. I will say this: how you present it is the queen. Girls are more beautiful, anyways. So, queen has to be more beautiful than the king. So, the king is the content, and the queen, I will say, is how you present it. So, I will call it the UX design. Yeah, thank you. Please go ahead with your questions. I'll stop the share.
This was amazing, Mridula. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Shipana. Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Thank you, Mridula. Actually, I don't have any questions.
Mm-hmm.
I just really liked your insights on the depression part and the color theory. Uh, Actually, it will help me in my personal work in creation of thumbnails and all. The way
Exactly.
you explain how to use colors at adobe.com. And I just have one question. You mentioned that in the European country where there is not much sunlight,
Mm.
using black color impacts the user.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, it impacts in positive manner or in the negative manner.
No, it impacts in negative manner, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Rather a quick question. This might be digressing from the topic, but I just want to follow up on what he asked about the sunlight thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, considering that we do use black screens at night to make it easier to
Yes.
read, but
Yeah.
if the time amount of time when the sunlight is there is lesser
Yeah.
in places, then does it like is it better to have like black background in such cases if we know that the
A good UX design would be to leave the decision in hands of the user, because of which the toggle button is always present window. We should not assume the mental state for different people, because we are catering to different countries. If we are a
right.
global organization, so it was a good UX design to just leave that option to the users. And if you do not have that option to put the toggle button, then I think user survey is very, very important before you enforce anything like that.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Raj,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Hey, Mridula, great presentation. Lots
Thank
of
you.
insights and very interesting. Uh, Quick question I had was in terms of a lot of people now, at least a large percentage of them would probably read your documentation on a mobile device or a device
Yeah.
of a different size compared
Yes.
to like a desktop screen, right? So,
Yes.
do you have any strategies or any best practices when you're designing to make sure that it's the same design which will work across both these screen sizes?
Yes, absolutely. Excellent question, Raj. So, first of all, when we build HTML pages, in fact, nowadays, any organization, when you have their HTML pages, it will be all HTML5. So it will be device agnostic web pages. Similarly, for documents also, it will be device agnostic. Therefore, when we are designing the documents, what I do is that I deliberately change the screen size accordingly. That you can go to browser inspect and you can change the screens. It can be a tab screen, a mobile screen, a desktop screen, and you can actually see how your document looks on different devices. That will be an excellent practice to do if you are having the freedom to design your docs, how it needs to come across to the users. So
Great.
that is also a type of testing, to be honest, Raj.
Gotcha. Because some things which we struggled with when we were, doing this entire mobile-ready
Uh-huh.
documentation was, uh, like for example, the release notes page that you showed, right? It has a bunch of headings, which is visible at one shot uh,
Mm-hmm.
on a big screen, but on a mobile it might involve a bit of scrolling. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe one thing which we looked at was maybe progressive disclosure. Hey, we'll show this first, and
Yeah.
then if maybe some information on the next screen and so on and so forth. So would that also be a good practice to, kind of,
Yes, yes. Yes, absolutely. And see, on mobile itself, there are two ways to view most of the apps, right? One is the web view, and other is the app view. So in web view, the FNZ holds true. But in app view, it is normally the vertical view only that works, because that is how everything gets accommodated in the mobile screen. Yeah.
Thanks, Mridula.
Hi, Mridula. This is Ramesh here. I have a question.
Sure.
Thank you for the excellent presentation and a lot of insights on the design. It was really useful. My question is, like in the current world, where the attention span is very limited, and we are more on devices like mobile and stuff like that. And aesthetics is something wherein we invest a lot of effort, to get the best outcomes. So given that the attention span is limited, how do we really direct the energies towards this? Because if somebody is really going to view your app for a minute or two, or your help or something, so from a strategy perspective, how do you really go about it, or what are your thoughts?
Excellent question, Ramesh. Thank you for asking that. So this is where, AI tool comes very handy, because I was just checking out the functionalities of Document 360, and one of the key feature of the tool that stood out to me was their ability to summarize the document. So when you're looking at the document on your phone, at the top itself, you are getting to see the summary. So if that summary answers your question, you're not going through the entire document and you're happy with the summary, and that summary has been created from the content of the document. That is one thing. Another thing that is not, I would say, applicable in all the cases is using accordions. If we are, introducing or including any supplementary information, already the user has got what he needed, but yes, these are the good to know information. I try to keep it under an accordion. And why I do not use it for the main content is because if the accordion is closed, then Control F won't work. That is one drawback of using accordion. Does that answer
Thank you
your
so much.
question?
Yes, Mridula. Thank you so much. Thanks for answering.
Very interesting questions. Thank you. I think we have a lovely group here.